Do you know Warren Sharp?
Analytics guy, right?
Yeah, he does his own website, sharpfootballanalysis.com.
I think Carm is a big fan of a lot of his numbers work, right?
He has almost 400,000 followers. Yeah. He does a lot of work with film, with analytics on the NFL.
He's also been a paid consultant for several NFL football teams.
Okay,
as well.
All right, that's good to know too, Meller. Very good. So
my guess is the Bears isn't one of. They aren't one of them.
He's never said publicly which teams have hired him.
So he's very highly thought of with football fans, in the media world, and with some NFL teams. 35 minutes ago, Warren Sharp tweeted this: "OMG, I'm dying," with a couple of the skull emojis. JSN warned us, Jackson Smith and Jigba, but I had no idea it would look this bad. And then he showed some of the routes run, Jackson Smith and Jigba, with Shane Waldron, and he shows you one game last year when Shane Waldron was his offensive coordinator against the San Francisco 49ers, where he had 2 receptions for 41 yards and 3 targets. And then Jackson Smith and Jigba after Shane Waldron.
He was good last night too.
Where it was his routes run versus the New England Patriots. It wasn't last night's game, but against the Patriots, it was 12 receptions, 12 targets for 117 yards. And the depth of, we always talk about the average depth of the route.
Depth of the target.
Yes. And it's what we've talked about with DJ.
Yeah.
So now he goes to DJ Moore, and he shows DJ Moore pre-Shane Waldron last year, and he shows you a game against the Atlanta Falcons, one of Justin's better games towards the end of the year.
They got him involved in the downfield passing attack in a lot of ways.
He had 13 targets, 9 catches, 159 yards, 1 touchdown. And you see the depth of all these targets and then all these receptions. And then he shows you the routes run and the targets against the Rams in this latest game. And they're much more shallow.
Yes.
And it's 3 receptions for 22 yards.
Yeah.
And so again, this is a highly thought of football guy who is looking at the Bears' new offensive coordinator that they did do this extensive search for. They did interview everyone. I loved the process. The process took them everywhere. They had they wanted to pick their brain about what they did well, what they didn't do well, what they thought of the quarterbacks who were available in the draft, how they would work with the new quarterback, what they thought of Caleb Williams, all of these things. And Shane Waldron was the offensive coordinator under Pete Carroll, who is a great NFL Hall of Fame coach. He has also worked with both the Rams,
Sean
McVay, and he worked in Washington with Shanny and McVay. Yeah. They were both there at the same time. He also started his career with Charlie Weiss in New England and was hired as an intern there. So he's got Belichick, he's got Pete Carroll, he's got McVay, he's got Shanahan, and he's had prior offensive play call duties. He again oversaw the remake of Geno Smith. As our guys in LA told us, that could have had more to do with Dave Canales. Ironically, the head coach they're going to face this week against Carolina, who they both coached together, was his passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach when they were together in Seattle. But again, your best player, your best offensive skill guy, he may not be playing to his strengths. And someone's saying, here's a guy who was a rookie last year when he did this interview. He sort of warned us. He didn't have anything glowing to say about Shane Waldron. And now a lot of it is coming to fruition, and they're handicapping DJ Moore.
Good luck to y'all.
Well, I told you that last week before the game, like that one of the issues that this team is having right now is not getting their best player involved in the vertical passing attack. Gave you all the numbers. He was averaging 8.8 yards per catch had 19 catches for 167 yards. And his average depth of target was 7.6, which ranked him 71st or 72nd out of an eligible 91 guys. And there wasn't a ton of an improvement on that this weekend. And I think that that's the genesis of some of DJ's frustration that has been pointed out by a number of people. And I don't know why that's the case. And I don't know why the offense looks like all you have to do is put the film on of this past game with the Rams and the Bears. It's supposed to be the same offense, like the same theory, because McVay's running the Rams offense and Waldron's running this offense, and they don't look anything alike. Like they're asking their guys to all run the different routes. Like it's not like what you watch, even in this game, you see DJ running a lot of clearing 9 routes and a little quick screens and stuff. And I don't know why. Then I sent you guys a couple of clips, though, of watching Rome run more downfield stuff, where the depth of target for Rome on a couple of situations would have been significantly further down the field. And in those instances, the quarterback didn't throw the ball. So, like, I think they do have a serious problem not getting DJ more involved in the offense. And it's not, I mean, that's not a surprise to me in one way, shape, or another. It just isn't. I did think that they made some progress last week watching the film in the running game. At least it was viable in certain ways. It made more sense. You were going straight ahead. You weren't asking guys to do silly things. I thought that Swift was better just moving straight ahead as opposed to going laterally. I thought Caleb played clean, most importantly. There were no boom goes the dynamite moments. And I think that was the difference in the game, because if you watch what the Rams did, the Rams were the much more impressive offense. Rams ran the football for 119 yards, 4.6 yards per carry. They had 322 total yards. They were 5 of 11 on third down. And Stafford really attacked that linebacker and secondary group in the middle of the field. And you saw a lot of guys making plays from the Rams in the middle of the field. I think the Bears defense was excellent in the red zone, obviously. I think the Rams got bogged down in the red zone where Puka Nacua or Cooper Kupp sometimes do their best work. And I think that the Bears defense taking the ball away twice, the Bears winning the turnover ratio to zip, was a difference-making situation in this game. I came away from this game feeling that the Bears offense made progress, but also coming away from the game saying, wow, that Rams offense is even as diminished as they may be on the offensive line and without their 2 best weapons was significantly more impressive than the Bears offense. The Bears offense played clean. They got the running game going a little bit, but there was nothing really dangerous about what the Bears were doing. And I thought there were moments where Caleb really did a nice job dumping the ball off and getting something out of nothing. But I think, as I showed you guys, there were also situations where there were obvious plays to be made that the quarterback was just shy about letting the ball go and throwing it. And again, is it because he's getting used to everyone around him? Is it because he's a little gun shy, so to speak, because he's been pressured so much? Braxton Jones and his inability to be really sound in protection has become a problem. I saw progress. It was not significant. I mean, it was incremental. It was much better than what we saw at the Colts. But I mean, look, you need to see this thing ramped up more than 264 yards. You need them to make some chunk plays. I also sent you guys a graphic that shows you that the Bears are dead last in like plus 20-yard plays in the NFL. Why that's happening, hell, I'm not 100% sure. They're close on some things. I don't know why Caleb didn't cut that ball loose on that, that go route to Rome or that deep into Rome. I don't know if he's feeling pressure and his clock is sped up because of all the hits he's taken. But, it's just they're not there yet. They're not on the same page enough to be a team that is really going to threaten people. It's early, but you better start making like leaps in terms of improvement. This is really incremental. But don't you expect some of those throws to be made and those balls to be caught? Some of that stuff's got to happen. I don't know why it isn't.
Are you talking about like the plays from Caleb where the cut ups that you sent to us where a guy's open?
Yeah. Like you got to let the ball go. Like this offense right now,
they got to be coaching him on that, right?
I think so. Yes. I think the offense is so out of sync right now because one of the clips I sent you guys Rome just run, and I really like what Rome's doing now. He's coming off the ball with good speed. I love when receivers run their routes at top-end speed. That's what Tutu Atwell does for the Rams. That's what you'll watch when the Rams do all of their stuff, and they attack the middle of the field, and it's really cool to watch. Rome's doing that. Like, I'm really excited about how I'm seeing him run his routes, and there are a couple of opportunities where, for whatever reason, Caleb doesn't let it go. And then one play I showed you guys, he makes an excellent throw to Cole Kmet on a positive, it's a positive play, but there's this huge chunk play to be made. And at that moment, Caleb's just resistant or reluctant to make it. I guess the moral of the story for me is that they're just off. Like, when there's these big plays to be made, Caleb, it may be dropping it off to a back. And when there's the moment comes that you need to take the layup, he's trying to push the ball down. They're just off right now. And is that coaching? Sure, that's coaching. Is it he's a little bit, shell-shocked because of the beating he's taken? Probably, yeah. But I think they're making progress. It's just a little slower than everybody wants. And you got to get DJ more involved downfield.
Right. I used to say at halftime, I remember there were many halftimes last year where Getsy wouldn't target DJ in the first half. And that was my gripe at halftime. How could you not have DJ Moore, your most lethal offensive weapon, not targeted? And then they would come out, and remember, there would be like 8 or 9 targets for DJ, and he would end up with like 90 yards receiving or 100 yards receiving.
Nobody's suggesting that you're trying to force the ball into bad spots, but a good coordinator can find ways to shake his best player free so that you can try and get him the ball.
Right. And so we talked about this a little yesterday. His long of the year is the 44-yard Hail Mary.
Yes.
So that's skewed because that came at the end of the half against Houston. Was that against Houston?
Yeah.
So you take away the 44-yard luck Hail Mary that was 1 yard short of the goal line, the Kevin White special, if you will. Take that away and go to schemed plays for DJ Moore. DJ Moore has 21 catches for 149 yards. 149 yards is like a game for DJ Moore last year.
It's less than 9 yards a catch.
This is 7 yards a catch.
That's what I mean. Well, it was 8.8 going into the game.
Well, so he's 8.6 now. Right. If you take away the 44-yard catch on the plays that they're using him within the context of the offense and not on a Hail Mary, DJ Moore is averaging 7 yards per catch. Mm-hmm. That isn't good enough. What's going on? By the way, we have trade news too, and this seems to be the obvious way it would be going. Ian Rappaport is reporting that Devontae Adams has told the Raiders that he prefers to be traded. I think this is the way that he's always wanted it to be, and supposedly the Raiders took numerous offers for him, but they shut down every offer before they even became like a true offer. They would call them.
What do you think Ryan Poles offers? The 2 from Carolina, or what? What do you think he's going to offer?
Just get another wide receiver in here to make it even cloudier.
It was a bad joke. Sorry. I mean, if you're the Chiefs, you're trying to make this deal. I don't know that the Raiders are going to try and help you be better in the same division.
That seems like a non-starter.
Well, yeah. No, do they even have the money for someone like this? Like, I thought Yurko had a really good point about
Tyler Scott versus
right about the Chiefs. The quarterback makes the receivers there. You need someone young and fast, and let the quarterback make the receiver rather than getting it overpaid because a lot of Bears fans have tweeted us, hey, should the Bears think about, and we even brought it up in the pre-show fist fight yesterday, should the Bears think about trading Keenan Allen? This way it makes the receiving room less crowded. You haven't gotten what you've expected out of Keenan Allen because of the injury. And could you then get the draft compensation back that you paid for him to start?
I mean, if somebody's willing to do it, I think you listen for sure. I'm not looking at this point 4 weeks into the season to try to take away from my team. I may get to that point, and it would also depend on what somebody's offering me, but I'm not shopping.
What if, like, someone suggested there's a guard from Kansas City who's also an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year? Or like if you can get a younger lineman, for a good old-fashioned player-for-player trade. If if anyone still does that.
Who's going to trade you a starting guard on a good team? So you'd be taking somebody, right, like a decent guard on a bad team. Like the Kansas City Chiefs aren't trading you one of their starting guards. I think they value the safety of their quarterback more than that. But look, I think that the Bears need to, they need to keep grinding. They need to keep trying to improve. I told you guys I thought that the Rams were more impressive on film than the Bears, but I did see progress. And by the way, they took care of the football. They found a way to win a game. So,
say that again. You said what?
I thought that the Rams were a more impressive team on film than the Bears, but the Bears, again, won the turnover battle. Caleb took care of the football, and the Bears have a better defense than the Rams. And ultimately, the Bears found a way to win a game. It wasn't overly impressive, but I did see progress. So my expectation is against the Carolina Panthers, you're going to face, again, a lesser opponent. Your defense is going to give you every chance to win. And offensively, I mean, this is where I think that we all want style points. We want the W, but you want the style points to make you feel better. And by style points, I mean, you want to see this offense improve and make some of these big plays, because some of the other stuff is like you saw improvement in their running game. It made sense. Cole Kmet was more involved.
You said it there. And I said that to Dion, that there are two people in my life that we use that statement. I use that statement a lot with. It's with you and it's with Dion. We say it all the time about the Bears. Make it make sense. That old phrase, make it make sense. I'm not looking for style points. I'm looking for wins and to make it make sense. Whether or not it's the timeouts that Eberflus is using, whether it's getting DJ Moore involved, whether it's the running game going north and south instead of east and west, make it make sense to me. And then after, hopefully you go 4-2 by beating the Panthers and winning a game in London against the Jaguars, who are in real trouble. Then from there, you have tougher games. And then hopefully you can win some games because you've built up some momentum. I don't need style points.
Yeah, but
I need it to make sense and continue the progress of Caleb Williams' growth.
When I say style points, what I'm talking about is offensive improvement. I'm talking about more than 264 yards. Like, ultimately, if you want to get to where you want to go, you're going to need some of these big pass plays to be executed correctly. When you play the Carolina Panthers, a 19-16 win with no improvement on the offense doesn't make me feel any better. 27-10, where they are pushing the ball downfield, and I've got 4 or 5 plays of 15 to 25 yards where the plays are there to be made and everyone's on the same page. That's tangible improvement to me. And that's what I want to see. I want to see not just their, like, look, I want to raise the bar.
Right.
You should be doing the simple stuff. Now, we've done that. You've done the simple things better. We're not trying to go sideline to sideline anymore. You did cut back on some of the other stuff. It felt like a simplified plan where they were more efficient and there were fewer mistakes. Now, the penalties are a different story, but I'm talking about, like, there's no turnovers. But now we got to incorporate some chunk plays and making us a more dynamic team, which goes into the battle cry that I've had for 2 weeks now about getting DJ more involved in your downfield passing game. I'm seeing Rome start to feel more comfortable being a professional wide receiver. Like, he's threatening guys now. He's open. He's doing things to get open. He and Caleb now just need to find a little bit more rhythm than they have at this moment. And it's up to the coordinator now to get your best player more involved in the deep passing game.
Eddie on the north side, you're on ESPN 1000. What's up, Eddie?
Hey, guys, how you doing? So I think it was Shea. He did some projections. You know how everybody projects things and everything. Like we did the White Sox, and projection came out true. They were terrible and lost all them games. He said Caleb Williams, 13 touchdowns for about 3,200 yards this year. But he did not include interceptions. And if you project them, you'd probably go like 17 interceptions. So 13 touchdowns, 17 interceptions for 3,200 yards. Would you guys be okay with that?
No. And Eddie, projections are more for established players from my perspective. Like, I can give you projections for Trevor Lawrence or for Joe Burrow. Like, This is a rookie. Like, I would say it about Bo Nix. I'd say it about Jaden Daniels. I'm not all hip on giving you projections after 4 games.
That's simply based on his 800 yards after 4 games,
right.
3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, projecting that out over 17 games.
So for me,
with math,
projections are much less important for new players than established players.
The next 4 better be better than 3 and 4.
Well, that's
3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
That's where I'm labeling that. You're calling it improvement. I'm calling it style points.
Right.
Like, we're talking about the same thing.
Exactly.
We're just naming it something different. Like,
I want growth.
Yes, I don't want to win 20-17 and do it once again because of the defense. Is the W important? Yes, but you got to zoom out. And you've got to expect that this offense is going to be able to improve, because when you get to the second half of the season, trust me, you're not going to beat the Vikings and the Packers and the team that hung like 45 on the Seahawks last night, the Lions, by holding them to 19 points.
Right.
You're going to have to be able to score with them. And again, I'm encouraged because some of the simple stuff has improved. It looks like they learned their lesson with how to attack a team with their own running game.
Well, and maybe this whole thing with DJ Moore, with his body language, with his frustration, is he simply doesn't believe in what's being drawn up for him.
Right, yeah, and he's got to be frustrated. Think about DJ Moore at every stop for however many years. What was he in Carolina? 5 years? And then last year with Justin. He's been not only the top target. In some instances, he's been the only target. When you bring in Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze and you've got 2 tight ends and others, just naturally your targets are going to come down, but it doesn't mean that you still can't be used in a dangerous way. So I think that he's now having to adjust to not only being the first option, the second option, and the third option. When he is option number 1, they're asking him to run a 5-yard out. And that, to me, is not using your personnel appropriately enough. Deep crosses, in routes, skinny posts. Like, he's built to play in the middle of the field. He's sound. He's solid. He's strong. He's not, most of the times when you have more narrow, fast wide receivers, you keep them on the edge because they can't function in the middle of the field because you get destroyed. DJ is strong enough and built in a manner in which you don't have to worry about him getting hurt. So you can put him in the middle of the field. And I'm not sure why Rome is running the majority of those routes. Keenan is running the majority of those routes. I don't know why they're not flip-flopping their personnel sometimes and asking DJ to run some of those routes, because the Rams do it. That's where I'm most confused.
Yeah, that's why I want the obvious shirt that says "Make it make sense" in the blue and the orange.
Because Stafford has guys that are asked. His receivers are all running different routes. Like with DJ, it's like, okay, you're going to run a clear out, you're going to run a quick out, and you're going to run a stutter and go and a bubble screen, and that's it. And I just don't think that that's good use of it.